But when you were Premier, you said some things about population. Were you consciously careful not to push it too hard because of the power of the pro-growth lobby?
No, the restraint I had was that if I spoke too often about it, I would have copped the criticism, well, that's not your job. You're not a national leader. Your job is to get the trains working, to fix up hospitals, to school curriculum's good, and all the rest. That's the sort of criticism I would have attracted if I'd made it a missionary endeavour. But as it was, again, my intervention was frequent enough to have a commentator like Mr. Eastlake say, you know, Carr's comments on immigration actually dissuaded migrants from coming here, which is a simple untruth and illogical to the point of being ludicrous.
It must be very difficult for a politician to take the lead in these issues when they're up for election in 3 years and growth is deemed to be a good thing by most of the populace. So does it ultimately, if we don't get leadership, political leadership, ultimately do we need bottom-up change?
Well, yes, you need that, but I never felt that I was out on a limb by making these statements, by saying that Sydney is being forced to grow too rapidly, and that reflects over-ambitious targets agreed on in Canberra. I felt on that issue as much as any issue. People were listening to what I said. They knew it wasn't racist. They knew it wasn't populist. They knew it was founded on a concern with the environment. I felt I was carrying people with me. I would have guessed majority support for the proposition based on our knowledge of this land and its restraints. I didn't feel it was an unpopular issue, but I wouldn't have ever wanted to have been accused of working up some sort of nativist anti-migrant feeling. And really no one put that interpretation of what I was saying.
Isn't it political suicide to limit population growth because that means you limit economic growth, and we all want economic growth?
Read the book. Read the book. He takes it on. He takes it on. And listen, you haven't got much of an economy or much of an economic policy if your only strategy for growth is to pump more and more people in. Isn't there a more sophisticated approach? And that says we're going to build export-oriented, smart industries, and they're going to export their product not around this country to a small domestic population that will always be relatively small, but we're going to export the product of our minds and our labour to the whole planet. That's a better an export-oriented strategy to lifting Australian living standards, giving Australia growth, makes a whole lot more sense than saying we're going to rely on building up our domestic population. That benefits some sectors of the economy. Housing, for example, shopping centre construction, but it puts an awful lot of pressure on state government and federal government budgets, generally state government budgets, to provide the infrastructure, and a lot of pressure on the sprawl of cities and the density of cities, which actually retards your growth opportunities. There were some serious arguments made in this book, in Mark's book, about immigration not being the magic key to economic growth.
There's an imminent vacancy in the Premiership of New South Wales.
No. Well, that's an appropriate occasion to wrap this up. Nice to see you all. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Carr. Mark will be signing copies of his book at the signing table back there. Please stay, have another drink and talk about the issues. Buy a copy of the book and have Mark sign it. Please, thank you very much, Bob Carr and Mark.